Hey everyone! In this Let's Be Frank, we're going to take a look at Wildermyth. Wildermyth is a game about storytelling, weaving together the fates of huge numbers of characters to create your own legends. While those of you familiar with Telltale games like The Walking Dead or other storytelling type titles might actually find a lot to love about Wildermyth, the gameplay experience and the way you generate the twisting tales within this world are completely unique. This video took me a lot longer than others. To truly get to the meat of this game, it really requires multiple playthroughs, both successful and not. As you play, your recruit's individual stories evolve with every step of your journey. Aside from what you would expect, each of your characters starts out relatively normal. Leveling up new skills and traits happens every time you hit some kind of new level, but every move on the world map typically results in an event. That event can affect one or more of your characters, and then the choices that you make there will often have permanent, compelling effects. To give you an example, let me tell you a story. Troon started her tale as one of two sisters. Both joined up with a local legend named Hardback Harry. He was famous for his previous exploits where he'd attained his heart of fire, and his partnership with the women who could manipulate these flames was pretty valuable. They started off strong, and over time, Troon and Hardback Harry even formed a romance. In battle, this allowed them to avenge each other, and for many years, they were pretty happy. As it turned out, however, Troon had a secret history, and she was one day approached by her wolf god. Forced into a snap decision, she chose to sacrifice her own humanity in exchange for powerful skills that would aid the Fellowship on their journey. In doing so, she lost ties to Hardback Harry, but her newfound powers were instrumental to the survival of the group for many years. The game uses chapters to divide your story into individual time periods, and ending a chapter causes years to pass. Your characters will age and continue to develop even during these periods. They may choose to explore the world, develop exposition in your tale, get married or have children, or even retire and pass on depending on their age. One of the things that makes this game really special is that when your character's story ends for whatever reason, they become a part of your story and your legacy. Whether or not they were successful this time around doesn't determine how or when they may appear in future tales either. As you can see, this is why this game took a little bit longer than most to review. A single playthrough will only give you a small glimpse of the biggest concept of this title and the thing that makes it really unique. To talk about the gameplay itself, the gameplay is tactical. It's a turn-based RPG, and it plays very similar to XCOM, Final Fantasy Tactics, Fire Emblem. Since there's a number of games that have similar approaches here, let's talk about some of the skills that make Wildermyth kind of stand aside in terms of tactics and strategy. One of the easiest ones to name right off the bat is Interfusion, which comes with your Mystic type characters, and it allows them to kind of connect with elements of the game world and use them to their advantage. Barrels can become splinter blasts, fires can be lit, and rocks can become giant piles of flying pebbles. The cool thing with this is that you can take a Mystic character as they level and specialize them in certain types of materials, so you can develop even more specialized skills that can develop even further strategies. Experience is earned in a traditional way by killing monsters and winning, but when a character achieves a new level, they receive regular stat buffs and a choice between 3 different skills. There's active skills and some are passive. In my opinion, it's the combination of these skills that you choose that'll ultimately determine whether or not you survive. Even on standard difficulty, it needs to be said that this game will really start to hurt you as you get closer and closer to the end. As your party evolves, so does the world, and so does the immense danger that you're in. Your ability to adapt to the huge swarms of enemies that are on their way, or create tactics that'll allow your group of 5 to survive, are certainly going to be tested. People are going to get maimed, and others will die. Survivors will likely need to bury their friends and loved ones along the way. As sad as that sounds, even death can be a new beginning for many in Wildermyth. In future stories, we move back and forward through time, we will see our friends again. Each new game you start will create new characters, but you'll also have the ability to choose from your legacy as you play throughout. There's a few campaigns that are set in place, but of course each playthrough of those would be completely unique aside from the main driver of the storyline. You also have the ability to create a campaign of your own, set up your own primary enemy type out of the 5 enemy races, and set up your own difficulty if you like. As you play through the game, you may also unlock elemental weapon types. Those will actually be unlocked from playthrough to playthrough as well. Value is something we always talk about in a Let's Be Frank video, and I think it's not necessarily any different in this case, but it's a little bit of a special game in terms of the amount of time commitment that it's required. This game is for people who like to read, people who like storylines, and people who like tactics. And if you like those types of things, this is definitely a game that's going to be up your alley. A piece of bad news I have for you, unfortunately, though, is the price did just go up to $24.99, and it looks like that's a permanent choice, likely because the game's going to be releasing officially next month. Still, that's one of the only negative things I really have to say about it. I think the developers did a great job of jam-packing this game with enough storylines that you don't see a lot of the same ones too often. It's definitely not 100%, but it's up there. I think they did a really good job putting this one together, and honestly, I had a lot of fun with it. It feels like a great casual game that I could pick up maybe once every few months or so and not really have to worry about relearning the whole thing, just jump right back in, and I am looking forward to having more of those types of games in my library. Anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed my take on the game Wildermyth. Sorry for the long time between posts on this one, but there's a lot of gameplay on this. Thanks for watching, everybody.